WakMed19 and Bondfire, aka Game Site. Welcome aboard. We've got a slightly slimmer topic list this week, but I'm sure we'll make it just as interesting. We've got a medic question. We've got college sports versus pro sports, which is more entertaining and why. We've got what is the hardest part about explaining YouTube and explaining that you do YouTube to other people. We've got a random question, and we're going to talk about the Steam announcements, or Valve's announcements, rather, this week, about the Steam box. Actually, it's called the Steam Machine. So, about that, the operating system, and all that other stuff. So, take it away, somebody.
Well, starting with the medic question, I have one, and that is, WakMed, what is the worst thing that you've ever seen as a medic during your time?
Oh, boy. Well, first of all, go ahead and leave your questions down below, and we'll try to get to them each week. And if you have any questions that I can get to and answer. The grossest thing that I've seen is actually not gross to a lot of people, but it's neglect of children. Family members that don't take care of children, that abuse children, and it's not really the physical injuries like blood and guts and brains and bowels hanging out and stuff like that nearly as much as whenever a small child looks up to you and has this look in their eye of, I trusted them and I hurt so bad. Wow. And it will melt you, and if it doesn't, then you should probably be shot, because that means you're a terrible person. If small children who have been majorly traumatized do not affect you, then you need help. Terrible help.
Right in the feels to start things off.
Yeah, geez. Is that from like physical abuse or just neglect?
Usually physical abuse is what I show up for.
That's terrible. And
just people that don't pay attention to children at all. It's nasty. I mean, it's really, really nasty. I've seen kids backed over because there are so many kids running around from so many different families that people don't pay attention, so they just run them over, which was an accident, of course. And that we get to see the pictures of in training of how people use thermal discipline, sitting their child on a stove before making sure the stove is cool and burning rings into their bottom. And there was one family that the discipline for the child was sticking their hand in hot water, sticking their foot in hot water. That was their form of discipline.
Wow.
But when you see a little kid look at you with really, really sad eyes, and they don't know, kids are so trusting, and to take advantage of that makes you a bad person. It means you are straight a bad person.
Wow. Way to set the tone.
Well, everybody,
don't ask a question you don't want an answer to.
That's going to be episode 18 this week. You guys go ahead and
I expected like
get in
something
fetal
like
position.
Gory. Like someone lost their arm and their intestines were
You
falling
wanted
out.
me to say something like brains look like crispy Rice Krispie treats whenever they start drying out, right? That's what you were looking for?
Sure, something like that. I
They
can
do.
live with that.
They look like yellow, greenish Rice Krispie treats that are drying out. Yeah.
Wow.
Brains. Sorry.
Wow.
Wow.
All right then.
Welcome to 3-Bar Exploits.
Yeah. Well, see, that's what we do here is we start you off a little low. We're going to bring you right back up and end you up.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, why don't we just end the episode now? Everybody can go cry in fetal position until next week, and we'll see you then.
Children.
We'll see you next week.
Go kiss your children. Straight up.
Well, I don't have any, so neither does Bonfire, so go ahead, WakMed. Anyways, I want to go off the beaten path already or not the beaten path really, but the expected to be beaten path of our topic list, and I want to go to hardest thing about YouTube instead of sports first.
Okay.
Just because I feel like talking about that. Oh, and I also want to bring up. I also want to throw in one other thing, which I forgot to talk about. I was going to talk about it on This Week in Gaming, even though it's not necessarily gaming related. But YouTube, did you guys hear about YouTube redoing their whole comment section soon to be
I've heard about it. I don't know details, so
And
feed the
also,
fire.
and also, there's a new feature coming where some people already have it, and I'm not sure if you have to have a certain amount of subscribers to get it or not, and that's why, because I don't have it. But some big YouTubers have talked about it, but where you
Yeah.
can like see your top 25 most active viewers,
Wow,
like
that's
as far
cool.
as engagement and stuff, and you can like set certain content that only they can see it and stuff like that, which I thought was interesting.
That's very
That's neat.
interesting.
I'm just glad about the comment thing because now you don't now
Elaborate
you're
on
not
that a
gonna
little
see
bit
as
more
much
since
garbage.
apparently I'm out of the loop.
So basically, they're changing the comment section soon to where it's basically gonna be like more relevant stuff in the like at the top of the page. Like it won't be auto sorted by most recent, right? Like it'll be default by most relevant, and like it'll basically be what's a relevant comment, what if people upvoted, what's the reputation of that commenter. So if every comment you get gets flagged for spam, then you're much less likely to get a comment that's near the top of the page. Whereas if you normally get things upvoted, then you're much more likely to get stuff at the top. And it's just they're trying to weed out all the crap in the comments of,
Yeah.
F you, you suck, fight me IRL, all that crap. So,
That's pretty cool.
I thought it was
So that's just
interesting.
like in beta right now, right? Or
Well, they haven't
are they
rolled it out
working
to
on it?
anybody yet, but it's coming soon. And I wanted to figure out what this new subscriber thing is, to see who's the most active. But I think that's only for big channels because they're trying to put us down. Oh, and they launched the new creation tools thing, which the only thing in there right now is an audio library. But
Yeah, I did see that. I didn't listen to any tracks or anything, but I did see it.
You know,
you explored that, WakMed?
yeah, this isn't a pitch for full screen, but full screen breaks it up a little bit better already. Like off the top, I like full screen's layout without even looking deeply into YouTube. So I can't say that I've given them YouTube a fair shake, but full screen's made it easy for me.
No, I don't really use the audio stuff very much, but I've only used full screen. And full screen, to be honest, YouTube just keeps like every benefit full screen has. YouTube just keeps like copying basically.
Yeah.
Like they had bulk comments and bulk annotations and stuff, and they got rid of that or copied it. They had the audio library, they copied that.
Yeah, well, see, I'm also getting ads from AdSense wanting me to come back to using YouTube instead of full screen for my monetization, and I think that it's Google trying to get the money back with AdSense, get the money back with YouTube, and the thing is that they don't have the customer support. Like I had a legit claim on one of my videos. Somebody claimed my stuff. I couldn't even figure out how to get into YouTube to get that squared away. So, I mean, I've got an email, name, and number of someone I can contact at full screen to assist me with that. YouTube is just a...
Anyways, sorry, I heard some training or something going on, I guess, from Bondfire. Anyways.
Yep.
I didn't
My
know.
window's not open though, so it's not gonna be as loud.
Yeah, it wasn't as loud. But
Dude,
I still
open the
thought-
window, because those visitors were... That was pretty awesome last week.
Yeah.
It's cold
helped set the
outside,
mood.
so I'm not gonna do that.
What's cold?
What's cold?
Yeah,
I don't know.
What is cold?
Anything that's below like 70 in my opinion, but that's not here in Oregon.
Well,
Let's see.
what's
Right
cold
now
outside
it
right
is.
now?
It is 54 degrees.
That's
Oh,
cold.
dude, I would love to be there. I think it's 69, 71 around here.
That just
73?
sounds so warm and toasty.
And it's 8 o'clock at night over here. It's still 5. It's
Yeah,
75
let's see.
outside right now.
I would say it's not normally this cold. We had a pretty big storm coming through over here. Like over this weekend, we're supposed to get 2 to 3 inches of rain, which isn't pretty typical. I mean, it rains a lot here, but when it rains, it's more of a sprinkle to mist, just enough to get everything wet and piss you off. The low tonight is 52.
Whenever it gets moist like that around here, it means you're going to be stuck to everything for the rest of the day.
Because of humidity?
Because the humidity, it raises it to like 247.3%, and
Gross.
it's legit nasty.
Florida's probably my most visited state that I've been to the most times outside of my own state, and I have to agree that's one aggravating thing about going there, is that it's not necessarily that hot, it's just really like muggy, which
Yeah.
is like my least favorite kind of weather.
It's rarely muggy out here in the Northwest.
Are we actually having a conversation about the weather?
We are.
What the heck?
I don't know.
It's time for a rant.
Uh-oh, Oyster's rant.
Because
Get ready, people.
as we were talking about YouTube's customer service and AdSense and all that garbage, I started thinking about the fact that the new comment system, you know why they have this new comment system? They don't give a crap about what people are commenting. They want more people to use Google+.
Oh, yeah.
And this is aggravating to me.
You love
And I'll
Google+.
tell you why. Because Google+ is probably the worst social media ever invented. It's not good, okay?
I agree.
You know what's good about Google+ is Google Hangouts.
Yep,
Outside of
that's about
that, it's garbage. It is just not good, okay? And when every 2 weeks I log on to YouTube and they try to say, do you want to be shown as Dylan H? I'm not going to say my last name on the internet because I'm not stupid. But do you want to be shown as Dylan H on YouTube instead of TacticalOyster? No. I don't.
I hate that.
Does anybody actually want to be known by the real name on YouTube? No, they don't, because it's YouTube. They don't want to be known by that. I don't want people to see my full name. If they should be able to tell if you're uploading content on a consistent basis, why in the world would you want to use your real name? Especially because, and why do you have to make a Google Plus account to make a YouTube account? Okay, Google Plus is garbage, and the only reason that Google Plus has any decent numbers is because nobody can make a YouTube account. There's probably more Google Plus accounts than there are people in America, because every time someone makes a YouTube account, somebody has to make a Google Plus account too. So if I want to make 4 different YouTube accounts, I have to make 4 Google Plus accounts. And it's just stupid. It's a bad product. Stop trying to make me use it, okay? Nobody's going to use it. No, you know what the problem is? That because of social media, you actually have to be social, and your friends have to use it too for it to be viable. If nobody uses Google Plus, you're not going to make people use Google Plus by forcing them to do it, because you can make me use Google Plus all you want. If none of my friends are using it, there's absolutely zero reason for me to log on. So until you make a better product that does not completely suck, stop trying to make me use it.
What
I
he
just
said.
wanna
To
know-
make YouTube videos and entertain people.
I just
don't
want to
wanna-
know what's the point of Google Plus. I don't understand.
Because Google tries to be the best at everything, and they're
Well, I
usually
understand that.
they're usually very successful. So they figured social media's blowing up. Let's go into social media. But then they basically tried to make Facebook and Twitter at the same time. But then, like, it was incest, and the baby turned out with like 3 legs, and it just didn't work. So that's basically what happened with Google Plus. It just isn't good. It's just, and I'm sorry, YouTube. Please don't give me a strike for bashing you on YouTube.
I think that's against the rules, isn't it? That's free speech.
Anyways,
I don't know.
Sorry, I just had to
I
get
just,
that
I,
out.
just I agree with you. The fact that I don't want it intruding into my YouTube, and the fact that like I don't want my name obviously to be blown up on the internet. That's stupid. I just don't
just
understand
ask your
what
brother about that.
Yeah, that's why
What?
none of that content went up.
It's a
What
joke. I'll type it out.
Yeah, hit it up in the chat. Okay.
But I just don't understand what they're trying to accomplish with this product, because you're right, nobody uses it. I don't understand what the point of it is. They're forcing people to use this product that no one uses and wants to use. It has no point. I still
True.
get it.
I think by and large, Google has made YouTube better by acquiring it, and they've done lots of really good things. But the Google Plus integration is just driving me crazy, and I just cannot stand it. It just it doesn't make sense. Like, content creation should not be mixed with personal social media, because 95% of people who make YouTube content make it under some kind of pseudonym, and they're playing some kind of character. Like, TacticalOyster is not Dylan. They are 2 different people. Okay, and they act completely different as well. So why would I want to make them both the same? Why would I want 500 people on the internet, random people that I don't know, much less if I'm somebody with 8 million subscribers? Why would I want all those people to know my real name and have access to my Google Plus page? It'd be like if I copied and pasted a link to, if I promoted my personal Facebook account in every video. Like, that's essentially what I'd be doing. Now I'm going to read this chat story.
Yeah, I don't want my
Ooh,
name
that's
out
not
there
good.
just because it's, well, first of all, it'll probably get out there. I don't really care, but I've got different things going on with different aspects of my life, and I want to keep, like, what I do at work has to be separate from what I do at home. There's a huge difference there, and what I do at home, I don't necessarily want on YouTube either, unless I choose for it to be. Like the stuff that I put, like what I do with the kids and stuff, we discuss all that beforehand. I mean, there's very few random acts that
You're not
get
going to have a
caught.
Woody gamer tag go down on you.
You know what? If I get to
Fake Woody incident.
if I get to 1.5 million, if I get to 2 million subscribers, and I'm sure everyone will know my name, but at that point I'll be making enough money that I can buy, LifeLock accounts and.
I was referring to
whatever.
the live streaming situation with his son. Are you not familiar with that? Hey.
I'm not.
You talking about with the dog?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not.
AKA, don't live stream your kids because you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah. I don't. I just want it separate. I want the ability to be separate. If I wanted my YouTube to be under my name, I would have put it under my name.
Exactly.
And I choose for that to be matched up with what I do with gaming, and WakMed19 comes, I was going to save this for a video, but it's a very specific breakdown of who I am as an identifier already. I was Wakulla County's medic number 19. That was my call sign on the radio. So there's WAK for Wakulla, MED for medic, and 19 was my number. That's who I am.
I never knew what the whack
WakMed19.
and the 19 were. I knew what med was.
Yeah,
Obviously.
interesting.
I mean, that's
Interesting.
the way it breaks down for a call sign is WakMed19. So, I would like to lose the. I mean, I don't work for Wakulla as a paramedic anymore. So, like the WAK and the 19 don't work specifically for what I am now, but still. I mean, that's an identifier that works. It has meaning, and it rolls off the tongue pretty easily now. I'd still like to get rid of the number. So YouTube, if you want to change things up and personalize them, make it available that I can get rid of the 19 off my name.
There's a way to do
just
that.
Go by WakMed.
There's a way to change your name. You can't. The only problem is that you can't change the URL of your channel.
Right.
Like it'll still be youtube.com/WakMed19. But on your videos, you'll show up, like your username will show up as WakMed or whatever you wanted it to be. I don't know how to do it, but I know people have done it before.
I was actually interested in rebranding as WakMed when Xbox One and Ghosts and all that came out. I was going to rebrand and just go by WakMed and change a couple, do some more real life stuff on my channel and just do kind of a minor facelift overhaul kind of thing. And I've really kind of put a hold on that because I'd like to do it all at the same time, and I'm just waiting for having the ability to change the URL.
I'm trying to do that at the same time, in a way. I'm kind of trying. I understand what you're saying because you told me that the other day that you were like trying to maybe get more away from gaming in general, but you weren't sure what you wanted to do, and maybe make more real life stuff, but you weren't really sure what you wanted to do yet.
Yeah. And on that same note, you said something about being disappointed, or that's disappointing, I think was your reaction, that I'm not doing as much gaming, or that I'm changing things, or do you remember that, or what?
I think I do, and that was mainly because, like, I guess I don't really care, like, this is just me personally, it's nothing against you. Same thing with Woody's Gamertag, same thing with anybody who does the parenting family stuff, but, like, I don't know, like, I enjoy watching those kinds of videos, but, like, if that was all that it was, then I wouldn't watch as much, and plus I like your gaming videos. I think they're entertaining, and I like being able to network with gamers, and so, I don't know, I would really like it, as a fan, if you would stay with gaming, primarily.
Well, thanks. Hey, well...
Because I enjoy your gaming content.
Maybe we should save this for after the show, but... See, I would rather network... Like, I feel like I have a pretty good gaming network, and if you haven't checked all these guys out, here's my shout-out Friday or whatever on a Tuesday that's recorded on a Sunday, but these two guys I'm on the podcast with, they're awesome to play games with. They're awesome to listen to. Check out their content. They put a lot into their videos. Punkman puts a lot into his, and Mazeman, and like everybody that you've seen on this show in particular, most all of them are pretty cool. I haven't played with the Nascent guys, but they seem like they were really great guys.
Yeah, they're cool.
Most everybody that's been on this show is a straight up good guy, and I would rather. I feel like I have a good circle going there. I'd like to make more circles. Like I would like to be friends with, or have more interaction with like some comedic channels and some vlog type channels, because I feel like what I could learn from them and the way they make videos could make me at the very least better at making home movies that I can watch when I'm an old man, if not make somebody enjoy it along the way.
It's astonishing to me how much differently those communities work than the gaming community. Like, in gaming, like, people are putting up, like, 1 video a day or 5 videos a week, like, and then you see vloggers who upload, like, 2 videos a month.
Yeah.
But they still get this diehard fan turnout. Like, that boggles my mind. And I got to the point where I, like, question gamers who uploaded, like, 2 or 3 videos a week. Because I'm like, surely you can do more than that. But now I'm doing the same thing. So I can't go after those people as much because I've turned into one of those people. Which I think is actually good because, I don't know, I think it's good for multiple reasons. But we'll get into that. But, like, in the vlogging community, like, there's these people who upload, like, once every 2 weeks. And I don't know. I don't understand it. And there's so much more collaboratory stuff there too. Like I feel like the dual comm has completely died. Like I never see anybody do dual comms anymore unless it's like really small. I feel like one frustrating thing is that in gaming the only kind of networking I see is people who are doing community channels or they're doing like shout out series where like you have to like their videos and subscribe to do shout out series, or if it's some kind of community channel or something. Like nobody's doing legitimate networking anymore. Like nobody's doing podcasts. Nobody's doing like just dual comms, and I don't know. I just feel like most networking is like business deals now.
Well, I hate the whole community channel or the whole shout out series just because. Well, for the community channel, I feel like they're basically stealing your content, and there's no point for them to go to your channel because your video that you gave them is on their channel. So I feel like that's kind of stupid. And the whole shout-out thing, I guess it's my experience that's turned me off of it because it's like, oh, you like my videos so much, but you don't subscribe to me. I don't see the point in that, Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out another guy that was on here. Maze Man had an awesome video bashing people about just randomly asking for shout-outs, throwing out those blanket, shout me out on your channel,
Oh, yeah.
for sub. It was a game where he played on drone, and it was a good video. Check that out. Look at us pimping everybody else's stuff too.
Yeah.
So we get back to the community.
I get aggravated when people spam comment on any video of mine that's got a couple hundred views because it's like, really? You're picking me to spam comment on. You're picking me. I'm ranked like 844,927th in gaming subscribers, and you're picking me to spam comment on. Please stop. Please stop. Okay, just don't. You're not gonna. All I'm gonna do is block you and remove the comment immediately. So there's no point. Spam comment on Bondfire. His channel's about to blow up. You're gonna thank me.
Yeah, it is.
I am on the verge. I feel it. I'm very excited.
I need to get GTA 5 so we can make Grand Theft Auto videos together.
Oh, and it's going to be so good.
I really want to play it. The multiplayer's on October, so Tuesday, right?
So when this podcast goes up, multiplayer will be up.
I wonder if I can pick that game up this week.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking about, well, we'll hold that till after the show.
Okay.
Anyways.
Well, speaking of difficulties with gaming, what is the hardest thing about explaining to someone how YouTube works and how...
WakMed brings the topic back around. That's surprising. It's usually Bondfire.
This is true.
Bondfire.
Yeah.
Well, it was my topic idea, so I'm just going to go ahead and get in brief, and then I'll let you guys go into more detail. Most difficult part for me is explaining that, like, it's a real thing. Like, that, like, it's not, like, 18 people who make videos in their mom's basement, and, like, the #1 most viewed person gets, like, 20 views a video. Like, the idea that there are people who do this that are, like, internet celebrities, you know, depending on what your definition of that is, but like people who do get recognized in real life sometimes, and people who can do a fan meetup and get hundreds of people to go, and people who do get sponsorship offers from major product companies and stuff like that, like explaining that it's not like this underground, while it is an underground kind of thing, that like that it's like a real, like people are actually making a career out of this, and it's actually like a real industry, I guess, kind of thing. If that makes sense. Which, when I got partnered, it was really hard to explain that to my parents, and it's harder to explain it to other people too. But you know, whatever. So that's the most difficult for me.
Go ahead.
Well, for me, it's like, because like my close friends and stuff, they watch my videos every now and then, and like I think sometimes even my girlfriend, I think it's hard for them to take it as seriously as the way I want to see it, and take it seriously. Just 'cause they think, oh, you're gaming and you're just, you know, this isn't real. This isn't real life. This isn't something you should basically waste, I guess, real life hours on doing. And at least that's how it comes across to me. Like whenever I bring it up or, you know, talk about it, and I don't know, because to me, obviously, this is a viable industry. This is something I enjoy, and if it leads to other things, great. I hope it does, so I can be like, haha, to all of you guys. But
I informed you thusly.
Yeah.
Fancy way of saying I told you so.
Yeah, exactly.
Carry on.
It just, I hate having that mentality when I talk about something that I have so much passion for and enjoy doing, and it just kind of gets like, eh. You know, that's not real.
It's just like, that's cool, Bondfire. That's cool.
Yeah,
There you
exactly.
go.
That's
I feel the
cool.
same way.
You should probably focus on real life stuff though. Like,
You should probably get to work instead of taking a week off to play Grand Theft Auto.
that was awesome.
Is that what happened? Is that why you didn't go to work?
I'll partially.
Okay.
So, without going into too much detail, I basically had a lot of vacation time built up, and there's a max at my current job, so I had to take a week off. And
it just happened to be the Grand Theft Auto week.
Why not?
Okay.
It was great.
It
I was
hit me
basically
like-
living the YouTube life. It was awesome.
It hit me like last Friday, like 3 days after the game came out, and I'm like, Bonfire's been uploading a lot this week. Didn't he say he wasn't working?
Yeah.
And then it hit me. I'm like, he took the week off to play Grand Theft Auto.
I feel like I got so much work done though, like as far as like editing a bunch of videos like ahead of time and just like pumping them out. I have this library now. It was great. I got a lot of stuff done around the house. It's good. I was productive.
So much productivity. Yeah.
God.
So there's a thing you do like on Thursday night specifically, but you were doing that pretty regular for a while. How's that? Can I ask about that?
Me?
Yeah.
My sport?
Yeah.
No, softball. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I wanted to preserve your-
that's fine. I've talked about it on my Twitter channel, so it's no big. Yeah, I mean,
how's that going?
It's going good. It's this upcoming Thursday is basically the final playoff. So we're about the second round of playoffs, and if we win this one, we go into the championship. So
Straight up hardcore gamer all around, real life and everything.
yeah. Well, to be honest, one of the big reasons I'm into softball is because of my girlfriend. And I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to go too much details about her, but
Girlfriend named John. All right.
WakMed just has to take shots all
he
the
does.
time,
Shots
man.
fired, people. Shots fired.
Well, we lost Jazz. I gotta hit it.
WakMed, you're bald.
I am.
Just don't
Only
take
on my
shots at
head.
other people.
Only on my head. Actually, I got more hair tonight than I probably do most of the
You gotta
time.
trim up, buddy.
I gotta
gotta
trim
trim
up
up.
before I go to work tomorrow for sure.
You and me both, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to grow the beard back. We'll see.
How about Movember? I gotta talk to my boss and see about
November?
Yeah.
Mustache? I'll do no shave November. How's that?
It's
We can.
Movember is all. It's all over. From what I understand. It's not just the
Well,
mustache.
Over here. Well, it's called No Shave November over here in these parts.
Okay.
That's what I've heard of.
Yeah. Usually when they say like when I hear like Movember or, Mustache May, obviously it's the mustache.
I feel like we're talking about weather again.
No, I mean, well, the thing is, it's really hard for a lot of people because you have to get your boss to agree to let you break dress code policy for a lot of companies to do this. And I forget the benefits testicular cancer research, isn't it? That's what I'd heard
I have
one
no
time.
idea. I just my friends and I do it for fun.
It's like showing your support for testicular cancer research or some male only, because there's breast cancer awareness and all kinds of other cancer awarenesses, and the guy, I don't know, that's the backstory I heard on it. Is it was
Well, I did not know that.
What's
so
the
thank
hardest
you for
part about
informing me.
explaining YouTube to people?
I think the hardest part is the level of acceptance that you've built up in your head, partially. Because for me, like, YouTube's what I watch. If I was to say I have a TV channel and I upload, television shows on an indie TV station, I feel like a lot more people would be accepting. Well, for me, YouTube is TV. It's much more appealing than sitting on the couch flipping through a bunch of channels that have nothing on. And YouTube comes with its own set of problems. Like, people complain about people making money on YouTube, but nobody cares that they have to watch commercials on TV. It's, just commercials, this is just the way it is. But to actually explain, like, this evening while I was leaving services, I was like, I got to go get ready for a podcast. You still doing that? How's that going? What kind of money are you making? What do you do? I'm like, well, we just sit around and talk. Oh, so you're not going to sit around here and talk for a little while with us because you're going to go sit around and talk with other people. Well, it's a little bit different. I have people that leave comments down below. Hint, hint. So,
It's like people actually give a crap about what we talk about, not what you talk about, random person.
well, I mean, that
Yeah.
random person
More
wasn't being
important.
rude about it. He was just trying to understand it better. But the thing is, if you don't watch YouTube, you have no idea what's going on here.
Absolutely.
So, if
Yeah.
you watch YouTube, you're
Amen.
already further ahead than most of the other people.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people don't watch YouTube. Like, a lot of people watch YouTube, but they just watch, like, the recent viral video or whatever. Like, they don't
Yeah.
follow certain people and don't, like,
Or if there's
I guess
something that,
that's
like a
it.
glimpse of something like a big play that everyone's talking about, maybe in sports or something
Yeah,
like
stuff
that,
like
they'll just
that.
look that up real quick, and that's to the extent of their YouTube. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think it goes along with the way the entertainment industry is changing as far as, I guess, movies and TV and things like that. I mean, you look at all the streaming services that are now currently available. YouTube is very well in that argument. I mean, you got a lot of people that
Mm-hmm.
are basically treated like exclusive TV shows that you can only find on YouTube, and they're the same quality that you would get on, like other TV, NBC, ABC, those types of things.
Yeah, there's a couple of people that are trying to make films. One of them's a kid. The quality of short film being like 5 to 10 minutes in his case, dude makes some really, really good videos. Stuff that I think is kind of hard, he has just mastered with, the way he breaks down and uses. And first of all, those are, I know what effects program he's using. It's a $700 or $800 effects program.
What is it?
After Effects and Adobe
I have-
Air, Adobe something.
I got a
good one?
30-day trial of the entire Adobe.
Sweet.
Yes.
Now the
It's
big
only
suite's like,
$30 a month.
the big suite's like
Ridiculous.
$1,400, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very
Well, they've
expensive.
changed. They've
Let me look
changed
it
the
up.
model now, though, where it's you
Have
pay
they?
like $30 a month and you get everything. You get like 30 different programs.
And it's a subscription-based service?
$30 a month. Every 2
That
weeks,
sounds really
BRM
cheap.
check. Well, you get After Effects, you get Photoshop, you get Adobe Air, you get programs that you can write code with.
So,
You get
how does it
literally
work?
like 30 different things.
Do you basically get remote access to those programs on your computer and don't actually install them? Or because when you cancel that, I mean, how do they control your installation?
You install them, but it's like you have to be. It's like DRM basically. Like you install them, but you have to be connected. You have to connect to the internet every 2 weeks. So or they check your subscription every 2 weeks.
Okay, so that's how they do the
And
DRM
if
thing.
you cancel your subscription, then they prevent you from accessing it.
What you're
What?
what you're describing is a software as a service model, and that is you install the hardware, but you can only unlock it with a code of some type or a product key, and then you have to pay to maintain that product key. It's technically it's called subscription as a service, or it's what college.
It's a great deal, but I just don't know how to use enough of the programs. Like, I'm pretty decent with
They're difficult.
Photoshop. I'm pretty decent with Photoshop when I have the real version of Photoshop. Like, the version I use now to make thumbnails and stuff is like a really cheap version, and you can't do very much. But,
Yeah.
like, when I have the real version of Photoshop, I'm decent with it. And that's pretty much the only Adobe program that I know how to use. During that 30-day trial, I tried putting some time in learning how to use After Effects, but it's really complex.
It is. You can do so many crazy things with that, because I've played with it a little bit too, and I basically what I did is I pulled up a tutorial on YouTube on how to do certain things, and then I changed it just a little bit in basically the different pop-ups and effects you can choose. I just chose different ones and did the same thing they did essentially. That's how I got a couple of my intros. Aww.
Since WakMen's the only one here with kids.
He like melts to the floor to leave.
Heartwarming moment there over at WakMen's house.
I like the idea when he was talking about how, and then more heartwarming, I'll just talk over it. I like how he was
got on a
talking.
tie-dye shirt.
Hey, good for you. I don't.
Welcome
really
to
like hippies,
Bondfire's
though.
Club.
I do not own
I
one.
don't
Anyways.
care. Love it.
When you made the comment about like YouTube becoming more of like a mainstream streaming service and like having like more advanced content coming and now paid subscriptions and now people are like trying to do TV shows on YouTube, I really hope that it stops on that path, but I don't think it will, because I'm really afraid that YouTube's going to get to the point where it's too big for the little guy to succeed.
I see what you're
If
saying.
it's too clustered. Like, it's hard enough as it is with, like, just, like, because you think about, like, okay, since we love using Woody's Gamertag as an example in this show, as always, look at Woody's Gamertag. As big as he is, he's still like a one-man show. He runs pretty much, I mean, for the 95% of the daily operations of his channel is just one person just working on stuff. I mean, he's got people he networks with, he's got an agent now, and he's got some sponsors, but still the daily operation is pretty much 95% him.
Yep.
It's already hard enough for like someone like us to get big and compete on a content, like, because as of now, people like us can still put out equally as good or better content as someone his size, because of the fact that it's one person versus one person, and we have access to almost the same equipment and the same opportunities. But as more and more TV shows and big networks and stuff start to get involved, it's like I'm afraid that opportunity will start to dwindle away to where, like, I can't put out as good of content as NBC can, like the network NBC. Like, that's impossible. I'll never be able to do that by myself. And the same as any other network. And I can't put out the same level of content as a team of 3 writers, a show host. Like, look at Ray William Johnson. One of his, whatever show, and I don't follow him really, but whatever show he did mainly on his channel, like some viral video recap show or something, he had like a team of writers and editors that helped him do that. Like, there's no way one person can compete with that kind of content. I'm afraid that the money is just going to keep driving it to where it gets more and more like that. And then you'll just have
that's
viral
interesting.
videos. Oh, and one more. I just have another rant also. Just because I want to keep talking. I want to keep talking because we talked about the money thing again. All the people who in WakMed made the comment about advertisements. He said everybody complains about advertisements on YouTube, but they don't complain about advertisements on TV. Why is that? Why is it that people don't want to watch a 30-second advertisement to watch a video that they get brought to them completely free? Why do they want to use ad block to take people's money? People do realize that all these big YouTubers who put together these immense music videos, these awesome life experience videos, or whatever, like Devin Supertramp, if you guys have watched him, like videos like that are such high-quality videos, and people who, like Lindsey Sterling, who do these amazing music videos and stuff, like, you realize without money, you can't do anything in this world without money. So if nobody got paid off of YouTube, you think Woody's Gamertag's not uploading, use him again. He's not uploading a video every day. None of these big gaming guys, they're all having to get to work every single day instead of working as a content creator. They're not making as much videos, they're not putting as much time in the videos, the quality's going down. None of these big projects that happen on YouTube are happening. None of these more high-tech shows are happening. Like Philip DeFranco, I don't know if you guys watch him. He's one of my favorite YouTubers right now, but he's created like an entire brand, an entire internet news brand, and several channels, and he's got people who work with him. Like, content of that quality would not be possible, and the reason that you people are the reason that DRM exists, because you pirate games. The same people who use AdBlock are the people that pirate games. And you guys all complain, well, Microsoft's trying to screw us by using DRM. Maybe if you didn't blatantly steal their money, they wouldn't try to keep you from blatantly stealing your money. I mean, it's baffling to me. And you watch the average TV show, 30-minute TV show, is like 22 minutes of actual show and 8 minutes of ad. And you don't want to watch 30 seconds of ad that's skippable after 10 seconds for 10 minutes of video. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. That's all. I'm done. I'm going to take a 5-minute talking break because I've talked too much.
Well,
I'm hogging the airtime.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right about that, though.
Have at it.
There are a lot of people that only watch what's viral or what other people recommend to them on YouTube, and it's, I have to sign out of my YouTube account to find viral stuff. It doesn't pop up for me what is viral, what's trending or whatever. I have to actually go out of my way to find that stuff, and some of it's pretty cool. I have never watched a cat video. No, I take that back. I have watched one cat video, and that's because somebody did a voiceover for it, and the cats were fighting.
I've watched, the only cat video I've ever watched is Dubstep Cat, which is really dumb, but
awesome.
really funny, but really dumb. It's like this dude who's like playing a dubstep song, and he's holding his cat, and he's like moving it around and stuff with the song, and it's, I don't know, for some reason it's really, really amusing, even though it's really stupid, but you guys should look it up. Anyways, I'm still done talking.
Huh. So that we got to talk about it now. You brought it up this far. Watch Dogs is only 30 frames a second?
Yes.
Ryse Son of Rome is going to look like a GameCube game. Has anybody seen the crap about that game? That game's going to be awful.
I've noticed this week, and I didn't talk it in the resurrection of my new Sunday show, the 5 Spot. Plug there.
What is this?
Trying to find the sound effect.
It's called the 5 Spot.
I watched a little bit of that.
I did it. I did this show like when I very first started YouTube, where I take basically the top 5 news and announcements from the week, and I deliver it to you news style. I've completely redone it. I took like a 7-month hiatus on it because no one really liked it, but I'm bringing it back because I enjoy it, and Oyster inspired me to do so with his great show This Week in Gaming. So check them both out because we do cover different things, as my top 5 will not be the same as his news and announcements.
So I'm going to have to do a parody news show now just so I can feel like I'm on the same page as you guys.
I guess so. Maybe 3-bar exploits just change it to a newscast.
No, no, that would suck.
We can always, clearly
Could always
we can
be a
already
segment
go,
of the show.
clearly we can already go to Bondfire for the weather at any time we need to.
Absolutely.
I got it right here,
So
buddy.
if we put WakMed on sports coverage and me as the anchor,
I got weather right outside my window. I can open it right
it's
now.
cold. It's cold
probably
outside.
gonna be cloudy
I want
and
to tell you
rainy.
about it.
I can do the forecast almost any day over here in the Northwest. I can tell you.
Cloudy, damp, and about 65 degrees.
Colder than that, depending on the time of the year. But yeah.
Oh.
Anyways, but yeah, one thing I've noticed this week is we're seeing a lot of announcements of these next-gen games saying that they're only 30 frames a second. 2 of them come to mind. Watch Dogs is one. They said that it's going to run at 30 frames per second. Killzone was another one where they said the multiplayer will not remain a consistent 60 frames per second, but it will try to maintain that. And then I think the single player is 30 frames per second. So we're seeing a lot of that, and I find it really interesting. And of course, PC people have a heyday with this because they're like, "Oh my God, I'm doing like 120 frames per second, or whatever."
Yeah.
I'm not going to go on another rant, but PC Elitists, you suck. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to rant, but that's enough for now.
I want to come back to that, but go ahead.
Okay, we will.
I don't know. I find it very interesting, and I kind of want to address the question: does it matter? And is it disappointing going into this next generation of consoles supposed to be, another close step to PC gaming? Is that disappointing? For me, I'm a little disappointed because I know Battlefield 3 isn't going to run, or Battlefield 4, excuse me, isn't going to run at 60 frames per second like I had hoped. Just because I wanted to experience that in a Battlefield game, because I feel like that is a game that is worthy of 60 frames per second, but it's not going to maintain that. So I'm a little disappointed, but I don't know if it really matters.
So, here's the thing about my belief on this year's games. We're lucky to get any of them. We're lucky to get most of them, not any of them. We're lucky to get most of them because if I'm not an indie developer, I'm just the next step above that, and I've only got X amount of dollars to invest in building a game. Say I've got $115 million to put into a game.
That's a lot.
I don't know. Well, relatively.
Yeah,
but
let's say 20 million.
No, what was it, like 250 million was Grand Theft Auto? Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's like
Call
the
of
most
Duty was 2 million
ever made.
Yeah, that's like the most like a video game has ever required.
Call of Duties are right up there. Anyway, okay, so fine. You got 50 million.
Whatever. You have an average budget for a major game release in this world. Like for a leading console game, you have an average size budget.
I was going to say just a little bit more. If you have a little bit more than an average size budget, are you going to waste it on building a game that you don't even know what the rules are for programming that game yet? And the thing is, until recently, when was E3? It was 2 months ago?
Longer than that, wasn't it?
Wait,
It
what?
was in like June, wasn't it? It was in June because it was while I was on vacation, so it was early June.
So it was in June, so 3 months ago you find out what the rules are going to be. And even then you don't find out what the full rules are going to be.
Surely they knew before.
No, they didn't.
Oh, I understand. If you're a smaller developer, you might not have known.
Okay, I see.
Well,
Okay, I follow now, yeah.
The thing is, you got Sony who's not saying you've got a variable amount of CPU usage for the operating system split off for what you can use for software and system support. So they're still floating around on that. Then you got the Xbox may or may not be changing the DDR5 and DDR4 to the type of RAM that they're using and what's going to be accessible. If the hardware is still in flux, then the game can't be built. You can't build a game without knowing what the minimum specs are, or maximum specs are for that matter, of what game can be built. If I don't know, like I can't build an engine if I don't know what truck to put it in, if I don't even know what the truck's going to be. So why would I build a game if I'm going to release it? Like, you can't start making a quadruple A title in July and drop it in November. You just can't.
I find it hard to believe, because don't you have to get sent like a dev kit by the people who made the console to be able to develop for it?
You have to be sent the
Currently,
OS.
yes.
You have to be sent the OS and the specifications on what the game console is going to be constructed of. So you have to do something like IGN did with building your own version of the Xbox One and the own version of the PlayStation 4. The easy way is, yes, to get a dev kit, and then you can take this computer that you've built or simulate the hardware thereof and put the operating system from Xbox One or PlayStation 4 or the Wii or whatever else. You can put that OS into
Wii.
it.
Anyways,
and you can simulate it from there. But they didn't know what those rules were. And even, like, I'm sure you got winks and nods, but if I'm Microsoft or if I'm Sony, my weak link in security is what I have to tell Activision to build Call of Duty 4. I mean, and the thing is, I say all that to say, the good games, the ones that we're hoping for and really want to see in November, that level of build and support and coolness, you're talking about at least next year, if not 2015, before you start seeing
I disagree.
the full capacities of the game console be used.
I disagree.
That's
I
cool.
think you will see. Well, and I know this isn't like an overly arguable thing. I feel like the exclusive titles, like Forza, or well, apparently not Rise Son of Rome, unfortunately, because that game's got awful
I don't
graphics
get
for
that.
some reason.
I just
But Forza, like the whole Forza thing, they've taken advantage of so many of the new features they can use. I'm assuming that I'm not big on PlayStation exclusives because I don't play PlayStation, so I don't know what their like flagship couple of exclusives are. But I'm sure whatever exclusive they have that are dropping on launch are going to make more use. But I do agree that, in a sense, it makes sense that they wouldn't be able to use it at full power. But like, there's no excuse for having them run, like not having it at a certain frames per second, or not having it at full 1080p. Like I'm not saying you have to have the most graphically wonderful game ever made, but like at least 60 frames per second 1080p seems like it'd be a no-brainer to me.
yeah.
And also, and another thing is that people who all consider that hardware is a big part of the console race and which one you're going to get, no, it's not. Because both consoles are going to have good enough hardware to play the games that you want to play, and it's just not a big deal. There's not going to be any games that get made that are too powerful to run on any of the consoles. It's not going to happen. And plus, any game that's not an exclusive is going to be made for the less powerful console, because if they can't make it for the more powerful console, and then have it be too good for the less powerful console to run. So that's completely a moot point, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a fact that you give it 2 to 3 years before we see the full potential of these next-gen consoles. Seen it with the Xbox, you see it with the PlayStation 3. I mean, you compare Call of Duty 2 to Black Ops 2, for example, just in that console life, it's amazing how much has changed on the same exact console. So expect the graphics to get better, for sure. But now, Oyster, are you saying that frames per second does matter? Am I hearing you correctly?
I am.
Well, what do you mean by that? Like, as a gamer, to me, does frames per second matter?
Yeah. So when you hear
s-
about a title coming out, the fact that it isn't going to run at 60 frames per second, that matters to you.
It matters to me more in the sense that how can the developer not make it run at that than it does, like, as far as base game. Like, when I hear that Ryse Son of Rome, okay, which is supposed to be like one of the top 5 flagship exclusives that's going to carry the Xbox One within the first 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
When I hear that that game doesn't run at 60 frames per second, it doesn't run in complete 1080p, it's got like less polygons than every other game, which I don't even know what that means, but apparently if I knew what that meant, it would be a big deal. Like when I hear about like a game like that that's got so many graphical shortcomings, and it was built specifically for this machine by the company that's making this machine, and it's supposed to carry this machine, be one of the games that carries this machine, it's not as much, like, I'm still going to get that game when I pick up my Xbox One. I'm still going to get it the same night, and I'm going to play it right when I get home. But it's just kind of disappointing. Like, I don't understand how that can happen. Like, so to answer your question directly, no, it doesn't matter a ton to me. It matters a little bit. But it's just kind of, like, it makes me think less of the developer in general. It makes me question their legitimacy and their professionalism. But
Blackman?
So it does to me, for sure. The reason 30 frames a second is used is because your eye refreshes at 25 times a second or something like that. So you have to stay over 25 so that there's a matchup for the eye. The thing is this, the eye doesn't refresh at a constant refresh rate. You're blinking, how long your eyes have been open, the strain, the lighting, all kinds of things go into how often your eye sends a new signal to your brain over of the progression period of what you're seeing. If you've got 30 frames a second, then I've got just enough for my eye. If it's 60 frames a second, then no matter, like if my eye is on a downbeat whenever the screen refreshes, then when it comes back up, then that information is a 25 25th or a 50th of a second old. And I understand you're talking about, look, oh my goodness, the math is so small, who cares? It's what makes it seem that much clearer, though. It's what makes it seem smoother. Look at Call of Duty on Xbox or PlayStation. They're both at 60 frames a second. When you see it on your screen, it looks better than it does on YouTube in a lot of people's channels, not just because of color correction and stuff like that, but most people render at 30 frames a second, and I think YouTube only does 30 frames a second anyway.
Yeah, YouTube only does 30.
Yeah, so you automatically have a reduction in refresh rate, that's the hertz, by 50%. And it's just not as good. And you say, well, the difference is so small. Yeah, but you're selling me a $500 machine with Oyster. Make it as good as the machine can handle. Make it 120 frames a second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand, and I don't know what the polygons either. I'm wondering if that's not the overlay that whenever they start stripping layers off, that's the overlay layers. I speculation. I'm not sure.
I think it just has something to do with, like, you know, when they hyped up the new graphics in Ghost, and they're like, the iron sights on our guns are actually round now. It's
and
not
then they
like
showed the blue
a jagged
lines.
edge. Yeah, I think it's like
I think that's
how rounded stuff is and like how jagged the edges are and stuff like that, I think.
Which, you know, I pulled up an ACOG site the other night on, I don't know, some gun I was using. I pulled it up this week, and I was specifically looking at the ACOG site in Black Ops 2 is not unround. I mean, it could be sharper. Maybe that's what they're talking about. But it didn't look square or oblong.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't care about graphics in games, really. I care about, is it fun to play? Number one thing for me is features. Does it have lots of features? Can I do a lot with it?
So that's one of the things that I wonder about when you're saying that, I'm going to bring it back around to the PC Elitists. You say, well, PC Elitists, you suck. Do you envy them?
No.
Well, because I mean,
do I envy playing a less popular platform where the only real advantage is graphical power, and I have lots of games that don't run as well on it that run better on consoles that I would rather play?
So the people that would argue with you are the people, especially in the Minecraft community, that have taken Minecraft and made so many different games out of it. The customizability of taking Call of Duty and making up your own game modes and being able to write code into that. And I understand that takes a higher level of computer skill or whatever.
Yeah, but you can also get banned for that.
No, you can. Yeah, but you can be on specific servers that are just for doing stuff like that. Yeah. And plus with the dedicated servers, which you're going to have on console now, I mean, I think the elitism is just a way for people to fight with each other. Yep. But there are advantages to everything. I'd rather have a controller than a mouse and a keyboard.
I'm not saying there's no advantages. I'm just saying, like, the only significant advantage you have is, yes, you can tinker with the game some, which you can get banned for also. By most people. I mean, there's some games that are like open source, like do whatever you want with it. But a lot of games still, if you mod them, you'll still get banned if they find out. And you have more graphical power. Well, that's great. I don't care if your game looks better, it looks prettier on your PC than it does on my Xbox. I care about, do my friends play it? Is it easier to play with a controller than it is with a mouse and keyboard? And does the game make more sense to be on a console? So, I think, like, I don't see enough advantages for the people. Plus, it's more expensive. And if you want to, and people who say, well, it's better graphics and better power, if you want to maintain that level of better graphics and better power, you better be upgrading your crap every, like, 2 years, which is, it's expensive as it is to get your stuff, like, to get your base, like, when you first buy your gaming computer, but then you have to keep upgrading it. You'll have to upgrade your gaming computer at least 3 or 4 times over the lifespan of this console generation if you want to maintain your so-called graphical advantage. So if you want to sink $3,000 into your gaming computer, and I want to sink $500 into my Xbox, then go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's one of the barriers I have with PC gaming, is the fact that I don't have that high of a technical level to maintain the PC and be able to do some of those mods, and if something's wrong with the game, be able to fix it and things like that. I don't have that tech savviness to do that, and the barrier of entry is a lot higher, and it's very expensive to maintain, and that isn't appealing to me. Now, Steam has made that easier, I think, as far as getting into PC gaming and things like that. But to me, still, just all the specifications, the upgrades you have to do, and the keyboard and mouse thing, definitely. I'm definitely a controller person. Even though a lot of the Steam games you can use a controller for, which is cool. Again, Steam changes a lot of things.
Once the Steam controller comes out, you'll be able to play any game on Steam with a controller. Once
True.
the new controller comes out.
Yeah. But back to the 30 frames per second, with these announcements that we're hearing about the next-gen games, I'm a little disappointed because I feel like with these next-gen consoles, and I maybe I'm speaking early, and it definitely is too early to confirm this, but I feel like it's the same generation, just slightly better looking. Does it really matter in the long run? No, as long as it maintains a consistent frame rate. Because we've all seen it when you're playing a game and maybe an explosion happens and it drops frame rates, you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're maintaining, even if it's 30 frames per second, I'm okay with that as long as it's consistent throughout the entire game. And I think one of the things that helps a lot is textures not popping up every now and then, just maintaining textures at all times, no matter what you do. I think that's really going to help smooth things out, and I hope we see that with the next gen consoles, but only time will tell.
So I just recently noticed that Black Ops 2 renders poorly. Like, I've just recently started noticing that the foliage, more specifically, in some of the maps, some of the peripheral textural layers,
Mm-hmm.
they don't render as far as I should be able to see. And that's a graphical power thing. So
you mean like distance rendering?
It's distant, yeah.
Like in Minecraft, can I see forever until I physically, like, my eyeball can't see, or does it fade out into war fog kind of thing?
Right, and
Okay.
I've started I don't know why. I think it's a heightened awareness I've been thinking about and reading more on this lately, but I'm seeing that in Black Ops 2, and so I'm wondering if players are like that. Can you be far enough away on a straight enough sight line that people just don't render onto your machine?
I don't think there's any big enough maps for that. So it
I mean,
doesn't
you
matter.
had
It just doesn't matter. Like,
on this same console though, you had Array, which is from what I understand, that's the biggest map in Call of Duty history. Array from Black Ops 1.
which one is
The
which
one with the
is
snow.
that?
It's a snow map with the tower and the satellite dish.
I find it hard to believe that that's the biggest map in Call of Duty history.
Is
That's
that
I
the one
can
with like
think
the
of one-
really big? Is that the one with the really big like building in the middle that's kind of circular?
yeah.
Yep.
There's no way that's the biggest map in history.
Yeah.
Is it?
That map is
I don't think it
huge.
is. It is a very big map. But
What about
in Call of Duty
Wasteland from
World at
Modern
War,
Warfare 2?
there was I cannot remember the
Is
name.
it
of the-
CeeLo? I bet it's no, not CeeLo.
No.
Wasteland was pretty big.
It's the one with the big train track in the middle.
Yes. That
I know
map
what you're
is
talking
huge.
about, but
Yes.
I can't think of the name of it. That
I can't
map
think of
was
it either.
fantastic.
But it's got the train tracks up in the middle.
right,
It's got
and
the two
it's like a
sides.
sniper tower on it, and
And I'm
it's
thinking
got like a
they used to have the
giant,
tanks
just like
in
a
there. and
massive cornfield, just randomly. That and if
Yeah.
you get in that thing, you're invisible, basically.
You can go wander off in one of the buildings in the corner of that map. No one would find you. No one.
Oh yeah, no way.
You can just be by yourself.
It's like a battlefield map, almost.
Comparatively, sure, yeah. I think that's the biggest map in Call of Duty, in my personal opinion.
That's the one that came to my mind, but we
Yeah.
need to look that up. But I don't think the rendering of the person matters, because there's no map in Call of Duty that's big enough, or even if there was one, there's not a sight line that utilizes the maximum range that you would be at a disadvantage from that.
Yeah.
I wish
I'm-
foliage actually mattered in Call of Duty still, when you could actually like hide from people, but that disappeared too.
Yeah. That would be cool.
Like in
Just
World
add,
at War.
add a level of strategy to the game. I think it'd be cool.
So
I'm
I know
looking
there's
forward to some of the
strategies
new
in the game,
features, like the clan wars and stuff. And it's not like strategical necessarily, but
Yeah.
Are
That's a
you
new
familiar
thing.
with Fuel from a DLC pack in Modern Warfare 2?
I know the name. I played the map. I don't remember anything about it. So
I don't.
I'm like trying to figure out. Fuel is what's coming up.
I don't think I've played that one then.
I
don't think
definitely
I
know
got
what
all
it
the-
is, but I can't think of.
I don't think I got all the Modern Warfare 2 DLCs. I was on to something else.
It definitely looks like a very large map. Then again, what's an overhead view do for you? It says that the location's the Middle East. It's a desert oil refinery.
Uh,
Not ringing a bell.
Seeing the pictures, yeah, I didn't play that. I must have not got that DLC.
Let me look up. What game was it? Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let me look up
looks cool.
images of it. I remember this map now. Was it that big, really? That map was pretty big. I still think the World at War map is probably bigger, though. That map was kind of like divided in two. The Modern Warfare 2 map. Like, it was divided into two different maps, like medium-sized maps, but that were connected. Like, that's how it felt when you played it, I think. But I definitely remember that map now, but I still think the World at War one was bigger, just from straight end to end. That thing was just massive.
Yeah,
I
that
can't.
thing was.
I can't get it to go. I can't get it to go over where people can see it.
What else do we have on our topic lists?
So, topic.
We should
list.
transition.
Well,
Did we talk enough about the Steam situation? I mean, we mentioned it a little
We
bit.
did not. I mean, I think it's an easy segue to get into it. Obviously, if you haven't heard, Steam made some very big announcements. They announced the Steam OS, which is a Linux-based operating system that's going to run on their Steam machines, is what it's called now.
Did you say Linux?
Linux, yeah, it's Linux-based. It's going to run on their Steam boxes or Steam machines, whatever it's called. However, we don't know the specs of the Steam boxes or what they actually look like. Oyster says they're going to run $100. He swear he saw that price somewhere.
I'm really, really confident that I saw that somewhere, but I cannot find the source to save my life.
If that's legit. I honestly though I don't think it'll be $100. As far as I know, they haven't announced a price. But they also announced the Steam controller, which, if you haven't seen a picture, check out the 5-spot. It's there. But it's weird because it doesn't have analog sticks. It's touch.
Yeah, it is weird in that way.
It doesn't look comfortable either. I'm going to be honest with you. Because where the touch pads are, it looks like it's the back of it, but that's actually the front. Now, I've seen a couple pictures of, because I think on Kotaku, I haven't read the article, but they have where they've actually tried it out. But seeing it in someone's hand, it looks more normal, I must say. But I'm going to put it in the chat.
It looks kind of weird.
It's very weird. There's the controller. You can see it in someone's hands. But I don't know. In hearing all these announcements, I don't know what to think of it. Because I don't know, is this a direct competition towards Microsoft and Sony? Is it just to make PC gaming more available towards people? I don't know where they're going with it, and I don't know. They're interesting announcements because there's not like an exclusive game yet that they've announced to make people want to only go to Steam and buy this console. I mean, that's essentially what it is.
So you think it's going to be less than $100?
Me? No. I think it's going to be anywhere from $500 to $900, to be honest. It'll come with the Steam controller.
No way.
I mean, you're buying a computer. That's essentially what it is. I don't know, though. That's just my opinion. I don't think it'll be $100. If it is, hallelujah, because I am interested in picking one of these up.
If it's... Here's my thesis.
Yeah.
My thesis is that if it's under $200, which I believe it will be, because that's way back when the whole ouya and the Oculus Rift and the Steam box and everything was just like starting to surface, like all these side console kind of deals.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it was going to be $100 then. I heard it was going to be $100 now. So I don't know how much it's going to be. But if it is under $200, I believe that we could be looking at something that could challenge the generic console market and possibly overtake the two main consoles and change the way that consoles are made in the future. And I will say, and people might say you're a complete idiot and unsub, and I'm never listening to you again. And you can say that, that's fine. But I think because it's a console, but it's not really a console. It's basically they're taking like all the things that are inaccessible about the PC and all the things that make the PC difficult, whether it be the price point, whether it be the fact that it's not easy, like just navigating, buying games on PC, playing games on PC. This isn't as simple and as easy as popping a disc on my Xbox, closing the tray, and turning my TV on. It's just not as simple. All of the things that PC has going for it, basically, which PC has more versatility. If you bring all of that to the simplicity of a television and make it so easy to access, and we don't know how exactly it works, but and Steam is such a good platform. Like Steam is by far the best gaming platform out there, by far. Like it's just so good. So if you bring all of that and then make it into something that's easily accessible and easily doable for people who prefer consoles like myself, and if you basically take all the reasons that I prefer a console over a PC and combine the best of both worlds into one, like I don't know. It just seems like it seems like if they do it, if they execute it properly, it could like really take off and it could be the next big thing.
So
kind of like the ouya, but the ouya wasn't well executed.
The ouya came out.
Anyways, go ahead.
The ouya came out in the middle of the night. I didn't even realize that the game console had dropped, and I walked into Best Buy and saw it on the floor. It's not even like top shelf space.
You got to pay money for that.
Well, I mentioned the ouya in the sense that like it was a new. I mentioned it in like the new in the sense that it's like a new innovative idea, and on paper it sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Now, it's not as good of an idea as the Steam box is. Like this.
I'm
calling it right now. This Steam box, this is going to blow up. And this is going to be a huge deal.
In the way that you, formulated it, your point was correct. They didn't do a good job of coming out. Look how much everyone wants to know. Anything you want to know about the XBone or the PlayStation 4, you can find out. Nobody even knew that ouya came out. Very few people did.
Because it's Kickstarter funded.
It doesn't get any billing. I have seen nothing on it from IGN, from, what's the other name? Wired had like an article or two, but
they went too small.
Yeah, they didn't. I didn't even know they came out, and now I don't know when the Steam machine is going to be released, but I know people are looking for it. The other thing that Steam has going for it in a really huge way is that they can do just like Microsoft and just like Sony, and they can supplement their console with their software sales. Steam probably more so than any of the other ouyas or lower. What you used a really good term for it, generic gaming consoles or something.
Like your typical gaming console, basically.
Just they can supplement their sales, which means that they don't have to charge as much for the console. All they have to do is get it into your hands, and then they can make their money off of you. Which, by the way, if you didn't know, that's how Microsoft and Sony are making their money off of the XBone and the PlayStation 4. It's not from the money that they're going to make back off of the console. It's off of the software sales. And so the one demi console who is in the same position to do that is the Steam machine, and that's why Oyster's correct, that they will be bigger than all of the others. They will take over. I made a video about this a couple months ago.
If they do it right.
I think that they'll do it right. I mean, after all,
here's
Microsoft...
the thing, though. I don't think
is,
when you guys are realizing this one thing, though, and this is going to play a factor, these Steam machines are being manufactured by third parties. Valve is not making these Steam boxes.
Parties or parties?
There's going to be various different consoles you can buy with various different specs and various different price ranges.
I think yes, that's
it
true.
It is made by third-party manufacturers, yeah.
I knew it was a third party. I thought there was only one that, like, we're bidding this
there'll
out.
be like a line of 10 Steam machines, all specified for different things. I think that makes it even more successful.
I think it lessens it.
I think it lessens it just a little bit, but it definitely helps them cover a broader market with various prices and different specs. You know, they'll have an entry-level model. Again, I don't know what prices are. I think 200 is still a little low. I that would be a great price to see, though. But I think it's definitely going to help them over the market. One thing that is going to be their advantage is the fact that they're already in a DRM controlled environment. It's virtual everything. That they're so far ahead in that aspect that when consoles get there, they're going to be light years ahead of them. And one thing I also found interesting that was announced this week is that Microsoft is watching Steam's family sharing type program very closely because that's what they want to do. So whatever they're going to do, and if it's successful, which I imagine it will be, basically being able to share games, you know, I don't know how exactly it's going to work, be able to sell and potentially resell digital games.
Well, the way it is on Steam is like if you buy the game, you can download it on any computer you want. You just have to be logged into your Steam account to play it. That's how like the game sharing works, basically.
They're doing something else. I saw the announcement. I'll look it up.
You're right that Microsoft is trying to become Steam for consoles, and they didn't have enough backbone to follow through, unfortunately.
Exactly. I think it's a little unfortunate.
Now Steam is going to step into that role that Microsoft would have been in, and I think they have a good chance of becoming the top thing. Like if it's under $200, or if it's $200 or less, if any of the models are, I'm definitely going to get one.
Oh, I definitely want to, too. I mean, PC gaming is something I really want to get into because there's a lot of smaller indie titles that are exclusive to PC and that are fantastic games. One of them is called Gone Home that got phenomenal reviews everywhere you look, and it's such a simple game. I think it only takes like 2 hours, but I don't know. It has such an in-depth story and is just so unique, a unique kind of experience. I want to experience that myself, and I can't because I don't have a gaming PC.
WakMed?
Reading, sorry. There you go. I can see that they can charge less, and I think that they can get away with charging less. I don't know what games are going to be played on it, and I don't know what the advantage of having a Steam machine over having an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 is going to be. Like, why do I need to buy your game console?
The advantage of having a Steam machine, it will cost less than a traditional console, and I'll tell you why. One is because if the reason you think that it's going to cost more is because it has the power of a computer, that cannot be true because somebody has random music playing in the background. But
it's probably my TV. I can close my door.
Don't worry about it. But if the reason you think it's going to be more expensive is because of computing power, that's not the case because they'll sell the console at a loss anyways, like we said. And in reality, the reason it would be an advantage over an Xbox or a PlayStation is because if you cut out all the fat of watching TV, getting fantasy sports scores, doing Skype, all the extra benefits that aren't directly related to gaming, and you just take a machine that takes the PC experience of gaming, which with Steam is better, because Steam is the best platform. If you take that and you make it so that it plays like a console, but just have it like be the same exact thing but on a console, then there's really no negative. You get the best like possible outcome. Unlike what we were talking about earlier, unlike the Facebook and Twitter baby that became Google Plus, you get the PC and console gaming baby that becomes the Steam box, and it's perfect, and it's angelic, and you just want it. So.
My only problem with the price point, and again, I want it to be that price point. I think you have a lot of great information to back that up. But my only problem is that since Valve isn't doing it, and they don't need to make up a console loss for the sales of their software, is that will the third-party manufacturers, whoever's making these Steam boxes, be willing to sell them at a loss? No. That's my only problem with that.
That's fair. We'll just have to see what happens.
I actually found an article from September 26th, and it said that there's still not a price released yet. I really don't see them being that expensive, considering what we were shown at E3. You cannot put. I don't know if I can say that seriously or not. You cannot put that many high-end, extremely expensive components in something that's only this big. Now you
But
can
we don't know
go.
if that's how big it's going to be.
That's what they showed us. That's what the latest pictures I've seen are. There's something that's,
Yeah.
it's like a 6x6
Oh, I
cube.
know
the size of a
exactly what you're talking
GameCube.
about. I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, it probably will be that size.
They're like, you can put some really expensive stuff in there. If this thing's $500, it's a fail, straight fail. I think that it's only and to answer one of my previous questions, it said it's got 3,000 plus game library day of launch. 3,000
That's
plus.
just the current Steam library, though.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, but Xbox 360 doesn't have 3,000 games.
It's because
Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 combined don't have 3,000 games, and I would even venture to say that all the Xboxes and PlayStations combined probably don't have 3,000 games. Probably closer, maybe a little over, but
I don't know if I fully agree with that. But here's the reason why. It's because there are so many independent developers that develop smaller games for Steam. I mean, you look at Steam Greenlight, and then games outside of Steam Greenlight, just all the various free-to-play type games that are exclusive to PC, and just smaller random games out there that are only on PC. And that's why they have such a vast library, because Valve has done such a phenomenal job in supporting and wanting to bring indie developers and smaller developers to their platform.
Xbox 360 has 958 games. August 17th, 2013. 759 of them are multi-platform. 120 are exclusive, so we're talking about 1,300 games, giving Sony, a bunch of exclusives. We're talking about 1,400 games for Xbox 360 and PlayStation 4 put together. That's a huge advantage for Steam, and like I said, yeah, a lot of them are going to be like 60 different versions of Mahjong tiles. I get that, but still, $3,000 worth.
Steam box has USB, like 20 USB ports on it.
Yeah, it does.
So
For expansion.
I think the way the Steam box might end up working is basically just like you get the Steam operating system on this box, and you get the Steam library on this box, and you just hook it up to your TV, and then you go. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Right. So like, but if you just think about that, like how easily accessible that would be. Like you said, you have 3,000 games. You don't have to go buy. You don't have. Sorry, WakMed put something very crude but kind of funny in the chat. So, anyways, but you don't have to go buy a disc. You don't have to deal with all the other random stuff that happens with regular console. I don't know. It just seems like I don't know how much PC gaming you guys do, but like I just can't.
Currently none.
I just cannot stress enough how perfect of a platform Steam really is. Like, people don't understand it. Like, they've got DRM, but nobody cares because it works so perfectly. They've got Steam sales. I got Black Ops 2 for like $30 on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the sales. They've got easily manageable. The only thing they don't have is I would say they don't have as good social aspect, but that could easily be improved. So I don't know. It just seems like there's just too much. It has too much positive potential for it to not challenge like the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4.
Oh, I agree that it'll
For
definitely
gamers.
challenge. I don't know if it will overthrow, though.
It'll do better than the Wii U.
Probably.
I saw a news article, was it last week or the week before, that the 3DS has more units sold in Japan than the Nintendo Wii U?
Yeah.
It's not shocking at all.
I kind of think that it is.
I'd rather have a 3DS than a Wii U. If you made me buy one of them, if they were the same price and you made me buy one of them, I would rather have a 3DS.
I think I would too.
The Wii, we don't need to talk about the Wii because I'm just going to repeat myself.
Yeah.
Random question? Or do we
Sure.
want to keep going with Steam? I think Steam is a good
I'm
platform.
fine to move on.
That's fine. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out, though. I'm very very curious. I doubt we'll see anything until late. I mean, not late, mid next year.
If you could be any animal, what would it be and why? Any currently living species of animal. I know. I immediately thought T-Rex. That's not going to work.
I wish I knew like the emotional and mental capacity of most and I guess we do know the mental capacity of most animals, but like I wish I knew more about animals from a fundamental like how does an animal feel and how does an animal think?
How about this? You get to become. You are TacticalOyster, but you are in the body with the physical characteristics and functions of that animal, and the cognitive power of your own super wonderful self. Wow, I've dumbfounded both of yous.
There's a lot of animals out there.
I'm working toward my answer.
It's actually based off of your comments earlier from the Grand Theft Auto 5, from Oyster's Grand Theft Auto 5 discussion on... Crap, what's the name of your show?
This Week in Gaming.
This Week in Gaming. I actually wrote that question down in my phone while watching that show.
Because of all the animal right activists?
Did Peanut go jump off a bridge? Whatever.
They'll pour blood on you.
Bring it. It's called marinade.
I want to be a gorilla.
Wow.
Because I firmly believe that under my leadership...
Oh god, Planet of the Apes, watch out.
The gorillas could rise up.
Planet of the Apes.
And take over the world.
Did I just hear that out loud?
You did. Out loud? Did you really say that?
I said
did I just hear that out loud?
Yes, I did.
Oh gosh.
Step
Silly
back.
Steven!
There he is.
Okay.
Dude, I can't believe people still want to see that.
Silly Steven. It's just
Did you
a
see my
weird
comment
but
on your video?
amusing series.
Yes, you did, because you replied to it.
What did dude? I love
I
it.
need to see this comment.
What are we talking about?
Well, my comment was, because if you watch, I believe it's his latest Silly Steve episode, and just some of the things that he says can be taken so wrong and just cross the line every single time. Like, I would have so hard refraining from not making all of those jokes in doing that. I almost wish he would just pop in one just to see if anyone notices.
The one that he quotes, I'm like running away and my screen's turning red, and I was like, "Stop! I'm about to go streaking," or something like that, and I'm about to streak, and he's like, "Oh wow, I would have to totally do that." I will go ahead and tell you that in my mind, all of those jokes play through. All of them play way through.
I think one of my favorites though is when you say something from like they're getting you from behind.
Dude, there was a guy and I wish I could play with this guy more often because his name was Horizon and it was something like HUMA.
I saw you leave a comment about that.
Horizon.
Yeah.
But that's the guy. I don't know if you could see like the player card. When he kills me, it shows up as Horizon, and when I do it in that voice,
Horizon.
When I do it in that voice, and I say, it's gold. Go check that out. It's tweeted out.
They're pretty entertaining.
They are very.
I also saw that you got a WakMed. You got a retweet from Drifter.
I did. Yes. What video was that? The one where I was talking about the
in-depth one about the monitors.
I changed. I am now. You can tell from the different ways that I look while I'm on this show. Now my television, 26-inch Sanyo television, is now my computer monitor, and my Samsung computer monitor is now my gaming TV. And I've instantly done better. Like, same day, changed them over, I play better now. It made that much difference, and I didn't know it, but my TV was already fast. It was a 6.5 megahertz, but this monitor is two, and it's not like it's that much faster. First of all, 6.5. There are computer monitors that are 6.5 megahertz or milliseconds. I'm saying the wrong.
I'm sure that's what mine are.
You know, I've got computer monitor. I know of computer monitors that are over 6.5 milliseconds. So this TV already wasn't that bad, but I think it's all integrated instead of progressive, and they're. But yeah, I tweeted it to Drifter. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go check this out," and he immediately he tweeted it out within like 10 minutes, and I was completely fanboyed over my own YouTube page for the next 2 hours while I was at work, updating it, waiting for comments, wanting to make sure that I could provide good customer service to all of the people that wanted to come and watch my content. And there was some dude that broke down actually the eye argument about the refresh rate of the eye, and I was like, if doing breakdown videos gets technical responses like this all the time, I'm glad I don't do them.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that a civil is he a civil engineer or is a mechanical engineer. Drifter's a mechanical engineer. He's got a degree in engineering. And it's a good thing he does so that he can thwart those questions.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I don't cover topics I don't know much about, but that's awesome. Because I saw, like, when I watched the video, I saw people like, "Oh, it came over from Drifter," and actually, we immediately went to Drifter's page to be like, "Did he like do a shout out or something?" And I didn't realize it was a retweet, but that's awesome. It's very awesome.
Thanks, Drifter.
Yeah, well, that's like when I got the pop up when Girls Gone Gamer follows me. I got a little fanboyish there. I mean, I thought that was cool.
Totally fanboyish.
I did.
I'm followed on Twitter by a member of Complexity.
That's cool.
By Crimsix. So.
Yeah, but how many follow? I'm not trying to bust your bubble at all. I really am not. How many followers does he? How many people does he follow? And does he actually use his Twitter account?
I know Girls Gone Gamer started following a lot of people.
He has 11,000 tweets, and he follows 715 people.
That's not bad.
And he has just under 40,000 followers. And he still follows me according to his homepage right now, so that's good.
So we should tweet it. You should tweet at him when this video drops and let him know that he's got a honorable mention in the.
Yeah.
In the
I'm sure that will be the best honor he's gotten all hour.
You know what? If you believe if you believe your product is top of the line, you better sell it as top of the line, because other than that, it's just crap. So this is the best podcast ever.
We should tweet out all of our fanboy moments and invite them to be on the show, because that would be awesome.
How often do you guys tweet your videos or like send video? I don't know if you guys like send messages of videos to big YouTubers, but I guess tweeting it is kind of the same thing. How often do you guys tweet your videos to people?
Never.
I think I've done it 3 times or something like that.
Because I don't remember ever doing it. I mean, maybe a couple times, but it's not very often that I ever do it.
Like there was some huge tragedy, and I think Lefty, Woody, and somebody else maybe made a video about, and it was hidden inside. It wasn't the lead line of their video. It was inside some of their videos that they said, it's not cool to make money off of other people's tragedies, and we're thinking and praying for these people like that. And I was like, you know what? They need a thank you for that. It needs to be brought to people's attention that, for all the money whore complaints there are in this world, for them to not put that in the tagline to be the first thing that's searched, that's pretty stand-up-ish of them. I thought it was anyway. It was back in like December or something like that, so almost a year ago now.
I agree.
I tweeted that at them or something like that, and but not very many at all.
Yeah, I never do it.
Considering one of my.
I'm out on this one just for fun.
I don't tweet at people like big YouTubers that much, because I just feel like what's the point?
Yeah.
Like, he just gets lost in a sea of mentions.
Yeah.
And if they see it, they respond. Okay, that's cool, but what are the odds? Like, the only person I tweet at a lot when he was still on Twitter was Wings, because Wings actually responded to a lot of people.
He's still on Twitter.
No, he's not.
Okay, somebody's still tweeting on his account.
his Facebook is linked with his Twitter, so whenever he makes a Facebook post, which is what he uses now, it tweets that out as well. But Woody has his Twitter password, and he never checks Twitter anymore.
Gotcha.
So even though stuff still gets tweeted, he's not on Twitter.
Gotcha.
But anyways, so he responded to a lot of people, so I took a couple shots at him, and I think I may have gotten like 1 or 2 responses out of like a year of tweeting at him. But I don't know. And I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it'd be so much easier. Well, this goes without saying. I just dropped something, but I feel like it goes without saying that it'd be like easier to grow. Like, I don't know. It just feels good when you like get retweeted by someone or something. Like the biggest sub gain I've ever had in one day was like 20, which was just because, like I've told this story a million times, the Only Use Me Blade and DJ Keemstar, the podcast they do, Bad Kid podcast, they liked my video and it got tweeted out, and I gained like 40 subs over 3 days off of that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Like, I don't know, it just feels like, I don't know, it's just great when the grind.
Yeah, it's definitely a
the
good
grind of gaining 1 or 2 subs a day, you get a sudden jump. And I've tried to find more opportunities to do that, like Thunder. You guys familiar with Thunder?
Yep.
402, Thunderstruck Gaming, none of that.
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter.
I'm surprised WakMed's
Thunder
not, 'cause
402,
he's pretty.
He's like a big Call of Duty guy.
He's pretty known now in COD, but he runs a community channel, and anybody can submit videos, and the average, and he just picks videos he likes and he throws them up on there, and the average video that gets uploaded, that person gains a few hundred subs.
Yeah.
And I submitted a video to there a few days ago, and they say it usually takes about a month to find out. Like, that's kind of, if it doesn't happen within a month, then it's probably not going up. So it's been like a week for me, so I'm still hoping. I don't know, I'm trying to find more opportunities like that. I even inquired about how much it was to sponsor PKA, and as I told these guys how much it was the other day on Skype, it is outrageous. It is outrageous.
We will not be on PKA as a sponsored link. If PKA wants to pick up any of the 3 of us for 5 minutes, or pick us up individually to put us on as guests,
even the 5-minute price, just doing the mathematical breakdown, the 5-minute price would still be pretty hefty.
Basically, what WakMed's saying is we're not going to pay to be on the show. We'll gladly take an invitation, though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
We're not going to pay to cut corners.
And you know
that's
what?
not me.
I will even send Oyster a gift card for Advanced Auto Parts where he can stop in and get some WD-40 to oil his squeaky chair if you want him on there.
Yes. Indeed.
In fact, I'm thinking about telling him to go to the kitchen and getting some vegetable oil or something.
I
Get
know
some
it
ham.
aggravates you because you brought it up several times, but I apologize. I actually moved because my grandparents are visiting, and they know that I do YouTube, but they don't really understand what it is. So, and I didn't want them they've been here all weekend because my parents are out of town, and so they haven't left the house because they don't have to run errands or anything like my parents do, and I usually record my commentaries when I'm home alone. It's easier, obviously. Not everybody in the house hears you. There goes the chair. So I decided to move into a different room that's a little bit more enclosed to do my commentaries, and my Blue Snowball USB won't stretch far enough, so I can't sit in the chair in there. I have to sit on the floor, and there's no squeaky chair, and the room's completely silent, and the audio quality is much better. So I think I might start using that instead. So no more squeaky chair for WakMed to deal with going forward. So you're welcome.
I can't record Silly Steven with other people in the house. It just doesn't
Oh,
work.
I understand that.
It's just not only that, I don't know that I want my kids hearing their dad with that voice. That's kind of, because I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4" and several hundred pounds, and it's just not the right voice.
But it certainly is not, is it?
See, I love the fact that you're both smiling. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Stop it. That's kind of creepy.
I'm just kind of
Well,
stunned. I'm still stunned by that series. I left on the very first one. I left a comment, what did I just watch?
well, I was going to put that. I was thinking the same thing. Actually, I was on Xbox and I was watching it. Then WakMed invites me to a party real quick, and I paused halfway through, and instead of commenting, I just told him, I was like, what am I watching?
I could tell you were watching it right then, too. It was pretty...
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious. I love it.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Well, do we
Do
move
we
on
really
to that
care
last
about
topic you
college
brought
versus
up?
pro?
Yeah.
College is better, period, game over, move on.
In what sport? See, that's the thing.
For the
Let's just say
sport,
football and basketball.
oh gosh, let's see. For football, it's definitely college because you have um, crazy, insane students. You have more fanboy type individuals. You
I
have
hate that word.
live bands and performances, and you have uh, the swing of how the game goes is based more on the emotion of the player than the player's skill level. And for the entire time that college football is being played during the regular season, that is true. When you get to the postseason, then the focus really kind of shifts towards the NFL because of a lot of the same reasons about the emotion that the players are playing with has more to do with how they play than their paycheck or, it's like once there's the whole season is at stake based on this win or loss, this one game, then it's like they revert back to their college playing days and it's all of emotion and hype and more fun. It looks like they play more for fun than it does because during the regular season, like this is what week 4 for them, week 5. It's like we have to make pass completions, we have to run the ball a little bit, we have to do this, we have to do that, and once they get to the postseason, it's like we're too hyped up. We have to win. We have to play cool. So that's where I'm at. College football is way better. I've never been to a pro basketball game, so I don't know.
Wow.
I love it.
I go to Bobcats
I cannot
games all
wait.
the time.
Until basketball starts. Preseason starts, I think, next weekend for Blazers, so very excited.
Bobcats training camp is opening up this week, I think.
I'm sure the Blazers are as well then. I don't know.
It's 33 days till the home opener. Anyways, I'm counting
I'm
down.
kind of sad that the Blazers aren't opening at home, like opening the season at home. Because last year was so epic because it was Halloween night against the Lakers, which is very big around here. We'll just put it that way. Us Portland people hate the Lakers with a passion, and it's so fun to go to those games. That was amazing, but not this year. I think we're opening against like the Suns or something. But for how I stand, I never thought I would say this, but as far as football goes, I'm leaning towards college at the moment, just because it's a lot of fun. It's more entertaining to watch, just because it's more high scoring, and you have a lot of coaches that are trying out different plays and styles, such as like the no huddle type things, and I don't know details on that. I'm not very football savvy, but I find it more entertaining to watch. And then with basketball, it has to be NBA, right? Because college basketball, granted, I enjoy March Madness, and that is fun. The NCAA has made that fun with the tournament style. But the quality of basketball is just it's just a 3-point contest for a lot of it, in my opinion, and it's like, what am I watching? Sometimes, except March Madness, I don't know, the quality goes up a little bit in March Madness, but NBA is just a lot more fun to watch.
I'll play the devil's advocate here.
No,
Which I made a video
quit
about.
cutting me off.
I saw that because it got blazed in my chat.
Yes, and it aggravated me. But
I know it did.
WakMed, see the video?
I don't think so.
You should watch it. I'm not going to explain to you what I talk about because you need to watch it. But I made a
I
video
will.
about being the devil's advocate. So, as much as I love college football, I think in person college football is more entertaining to watch in person than pro football. But I can literally sit down and watch the NFL. Like, the NFL consumes my Sunday, okay, and college football does not consume my Saturday. And the reason I feel like one, the game is played at a higher level in the NFL. The players are better. 2, while I agree that the passion is more relevant in college, in the NFL, like seeing a quarterback, like you're talking about how you talk about, we have to focus on our completion percentage and our defensive schemes and stuff, and like WakMed was saying, instead of saying, well, we just got to go win, like it's more of a professional kind of detail, like business thing, as opposed to just getting hyped up and playing. Like, that's entertaining to me. It's entertaining to me to see Peyton Manning come to the line of scrimmage and make 18 audibles before he snaps the ball, as opposed to seeing a college quarterback who has one read, or he takes a snap out of the shotgun, he has one read, and if he's not there, then he runs. Like, it's more entertaining to see the game played at a higher level to me. And the biggest thing for me in the NFL, well, two things. One is fantasy football. And as much as that may sound like it's not a big thing, it really is, because fantasy football instantly makes every single game, every single weekend meaningful to you.
I agree.
And the games are just better. Like, there's a reason that the average point spread for gambling in an NFL game is like 3.5 points, whereas in college it's like two and a half touchdowns. There's the fact that there's so many teams in college. There's like now 125 Division I teams or whatever, and then there's half the country's playing Division II teams half the time. Like, in reality, there's not that many good games each weekend. As far as, like, I mean, sure, if you look at the marquee matchups, then yeah. But, like, if I'm not an SEC person, I don't care about LSU and Georgia. Like that was the big matchup this weekend. Was LSU?
That was actually a really good game.
And
I watched part of
I
that.
did watch
really
most.
good.
I watched most of that game. I watched most of that game, and I enjoyed watching it. But, like, it's just not like there's one or two of those per weekend. Whereas in the NFL, even two irrelevant teams, like, or a 3-0 team against an 0-3 team, will still be a close game more often than not, just because the talent level is so much closer. You don't see as many blowouts. Like, the most frustrating thing to me in college, and this partly comes because I'm a Wake Forest fan, is because a lot of the years Wake Forest is not very good, and they struggle to compete against the teams in their own conference. Like, in the NFL, other than the Jacksonville Jaguars, when most years there's not a team as bad as Jacksonville is this year, even the worst team in the league can still be within 2 touchdowns of the best team in the league. In college, a lot of times there's teams in the same conference as each other that don't belong on the same field with each other a lot of years. Like, look at Kentucky in the SEC. Kentucky has no business being considered to be in the same grouping as Alabama or LSU or any teams like that. And it happens in every single conference. There's 2 or 3 teams like that in basically every single conference. And, like, the most frustrating thing for me as a Wake Forest fan is, like, when we play Clemson this weekend, I felt like we were a Division II team playing against Clemson, but we're in the same conference. Like, it just doesn't feel right to me. Whereas in the NFL, pretty much every single game is competitive. But in college, there's just too many blowouts. And I agree the NBA is better than college basketball for most of the reasons that Bondfire said, so I won't go into that. WakMed's got that look on his face.
Before you say something, WakMed, I just want to say, those are some...
What?
I look at the chat and I see top 10 sexy, and that's all I saw.
Wait, what?
Let's leave it at that. Anyways, I was trying. You bring in some really good points, at least in my opinion, as far as every team and every game being very competitive, because that is a good point. I could waste my entire Sunday watching, NFL games, because I don't know, they are. It's sometimes a little more interesting and more competitive, I guess, from that standpoint. Yeah, I forgot what else I was gonna say. Just left me.
That's
fantasy.
Looking...
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Fantasy. I was gonna say fantasy was the whole reason I kind of started getting into the NFL. Was because of fantasy football. Like, some of my friends were doing it. They invited me in, and it's a lot of fun. And, like, you really, every single game matters, and you want to watch every single game to watch your specific player. The reason why I didn't want to do it this year was because I got to the point to where, like, the games weren't enjoyable for me to watch because I was so stressed out about my specific player doing well. Yeah. I just wanted to sit back and relax and watch a good game. But no, those are some very good points. But I don't know, for me, like, right now, college is, I don't know, I'm more excited about college football. However, I will say that the only thing that's disappointing about the Ducks blowing out, like, every single team that they've played, and granted, I know the first 3 games, you throw those out the window. It's just, like, it's only, like, a first half that is entertaining. And then the next half is just, like, third stringers.
That's my problem, is that, like, half the games each weekend are like that. WakMed, you get your thing off your chest.
No, I'm moved on to a completely different topic.
Well, was that what the smile was?
Huh?
What was that smile while I was going on my monologue?
It's probably because he was looking at that link.
I was looking at that link for sure.
Oh, whatever.
That link was what that smile was. Costume number 1, as a matter of fact.
Alright, well, let's click on this.
Oh my god.
Does that work? Bonfire, does that work?
What?
Costume number 1.
Yeah, she's not bad.
Not her. I'm talking about the costume. Seriously, come on.
Well, let me check the other ones here.
Well, that was the one I was worried about. Number 1.
I'm kind of confused right now as to like what we're actually talking about.
Well, we're looking at these top 10.
Well, yeah, I am too, but I'm still confused
So,
as to what we're talking about here.
as far as which one is better for entertainment value was the question, and I think that the college football is unparalleled in its entertainment value. And I think for the opposite point of what Oyster said, in that you can have a 77-7 blowout, and if you're the team that's doing well, there's no better feeling in the world than just crushing someone. Especially if it's a conference game, which is what I'm referring to with Florida State versus Duke 10 years ago or so. That's cool. You know you're going to move up in the ratings. You know, ratings, rankings. You know that you're getting your players all the stats that they need. You know that at that point we had our third string in, and it's like, what am I going to do? Bobby Bowden actually said, what am I going to do? Tell them not to score touchdowns? I can't tell freshmen, true freshmen, not to score touchdowns. Put a team on the field that can stop us. And it's like, we were that good. We were that good in that moment. It was that entertaining for all of us to watch. Now, when you lose, maybe it's because of where I live and the fact that we don't have a pro team. And, well, you know, Florida State's a competitor in football and basketball. So football's bigger around here. Our basketball team, you know, I've worked several of the games. I've never been there I've been to one as a fan. I have worked several of the games as a paramedic, and at that I get to stand at courtside, just out of view of the camera most of the time. But I get to stand courtside and watch the game courtside, and those guys are, you know, they're all my height, so they don't look like giants to me. But if they walk up to somebody else, I'm like, yeah, that's a big guy. They don't put on as good a show as college football seems to. They don't have a college game day, and I think that part of the factor is that
there is basketball college game day, but
I think that part of the factor is that all of the college football excitement and hype culminates on one day. Thursday night games, whatever, midweek games, okay. But all your games are on Saturday, just like NFL. All the games are on Sunday, except for, you know, that one that's on Monday. It all culminates to a head. It comes to a head. There's a pinnacle. This is it, and that is a Saturday for me. It's not really that way for me for the NFL. And during basketball, it's like, yeah, I'll try to catch a game when I can. All you're really doing is interrupting NCIS and other good programming.
See, I'll tell you guys right now, as soon as...
I mean, you don't have a great college team, so you don't even have a pro football team, really.
I got a good college basketball team.
Yeah.
We're a competitor. We go to the NCAA tournament every year, almost every year.
They're occasional legitimate ACC contenders.
Syracuse?
I was gonna say, over here we don't have...
Florida State.
You don't have basketball over there. You got BYU. That's the closest you get. They're on the other side of the mountains.
Washington.
Who's that?
Washington?
What?
Talking about Washington basketball?
Yeah.
They're a great basketball program.
Yeah.
Are they really?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Okay. Wackman, I'm assuming you're referring to
Oregon,
Florida
actually, this
State
last year
basketball.
was really good as well.
I'm talking about Florida State basketball, yeah.
Yeah, Florida State basketball, yeah.
We're hit or miss.
I mean, every few years they're near the top five, like in top five of the ACC, but they're not like year in, year out. Like I live in a quad of, like, I'm surrounded by UNC, Duke, NC State, and Wake Forest.
Yeah.
So college basketball is like a really big deal where I am. It's much bigger than college football. Much bigger.
Yeah, so I would say it's
not
college
national.
football
That's
here.
because all of your college football teams suck.
You realize Clemson's ranked number 3 in the country, and I'm an hour,
I didn't
2 hour
hear you
drive
list that
away
one.
from
I'm
them.
sorry.
And South
Clemson's pretty
Carolina.
awesome.
And
Yeah,
South
but
Carolina.
does Clemson have a good basketball program?
Not particularly, no.
I think they did all right last year, didn't they?
So,
Well, what's our definition of good? Like,
How
me,
about making
consistent-
it to the tournament?
to me,
consistently
good
making,
is being able to make it to the tournament
consistently.
That's what I mean.
7 out of 10 years, and
Yeah,
Clemson
okay.
does
Well,
not do that.
I don't follow it that closely. to
Florida
know
State
that,
does.
so.
So what other college can you think of where the football team consistently does well and the basketball team, under the rules that we set down, consistently does well?
What's your definition of doing well in football?
I think that can be subjective based on the I mean,
I'd say 8
there's
wins.
no system to say that.
I'd say between 7 to 9 wins a year is a pretty consistently pretty decent
yeah.
college football team.
Eight wins a year, I think, would be 8 or 9. Actually, eight wins a year would be.
I'd say 8. Yeah.
So I
just
guess
right around
Washington would fall into that category.
there. Washington's usually not that good in football, are they? They're good this
They
year, I
don't
know.
face
But
anybody. They're on the West Coast. They got Oregon to worry about.
Oregon, USC, Stanford. You know.
I hate
Stanford,
Stanford
yeah.
so much. I hate Stanford so. I wish they would just fall into
I
the ocean.
really want to destroy them this year.
Why do you hate Stanford, WakMed?
Because they're just like Florida State. They're so overrated. They don't deserve to be where they are.
What?
They could be
How?
beaten by any good team on any given day.
So can Alabama. So can every other team in the country.
No. I think with Alabama, with Oregon, with Clemson, with Georgia,
Clemson's going to lose like 3 games this year.
you
Everybody's
have to.
bandwagon, but whatever.
Clemson will not lose through.
Maybe not 3, but
They'll
they're
lose
not
2.
going to the net. They're not going undefeated.
Yeah,
I
they
think
will
with-
I would say they'd lose too.
With Oregon, with Alabama, with Georgia, you have to be that good of a team, and it has to be your lucky day to beat them.
I disagree.
You have to win the turnover battle and special teams, and you win that game. But you also have to be a true
think
top 10 team.
I think the only team that applies to probably is Alabama.
No,
Simply because
Alabama's not that good. Oregon
It's
is.
impossible. Alabama does not beat themselves, though. Alabama is such a well-coached, well-disciplined team. Like, they don't
They do
make
have the
mistakes. They don't make mistakes that your average team of 18 to 22-year-olds makes. You have to
true.
beat Alabama, you have to beat them. You're not going to get any lucky breaks. You're not going to get 3 interceptions from their quarterback. You're not going to get 80 yards of penalties. Or they're not going to, make some dumb mistake and, like, muff a punt or something. Like, that stuff doesn't happen. You have to beat them. And I don't think any other team in the country, you can say 12 games a year, they're not going to beat themselves.
Alabama doesn't have the players this year. They still have that awesome coaching. They still have the players who are... I mean, it sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but it's different for those of you that do understand. They have the players who have been coached for the last 3 years to, not including this year being 3 years, to be that good of a team, but they don't have the physical players to be as good as they actually are. I think Oregon has the talent. I don't know. I don't get to watch them. I mean, during the game yesterday came on at 10:30. It's way too late.
Yeah.
Or I don't believe in Oregon's coach. I don't
and
believe
I
a
couldn't watch
first-year coach. I don't believe a first-year head coach can win a championship.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's
The
got
only
a
thing I'm
shot.
worried about Oregon, as far as the coaching goes, is I feel like there's not as much discipline on the field as there was last year, or even when Chip Kelly was there. Because when Chip Kelly was there, I just felt like everything was so tight knit, go 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 go, like that's literally all you're worrying about. But with this new coach, I don't know if it's there yet. He's still doing a great job. We're still getting our plays off, and I think it's even faster between plays than it was last year. But I'm just not 100% sold on the coach yet. But yeah, we definitely have the talent.
Have you seen them play? They're doing really well. I didn't see
Oh, yeah.
what they did last night.
Alabama has the players to win a
You
championship.
don't even want to know what they did last night.
What did they do last night? It was 27-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah, basically. That's
Who did they play?
They played Cal, which I know isn't that good of a team, but it's a conference game still. But what it was is they caused like 5 turnovers in the first quarter from Cal. Like basically the first quarter of the game was played on Cal's side of the field, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yeah.
Like it did not go to the other side of the field at all, ever. It was ridiculous.
One more question. What's the best team Florida State's played this year?
We haven't.
Who's the best team?
Boston College, we played yesterday.
That's a good team.
Um,
Well, not like a good team, but it's a respectable team.
Not like a good team in the sense that they win any games.
No.
They usually are. They're not this year.
First of all, they had you on the ropes in the first quarter.
Yes, they
the
did.
first half. Really.
I saw that. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
You know, I actually had people.
They're not a great team, but they could win 7 or 8 games this year. Like, they're a respectable opponent. They're not a doormat.
They weren't for us, but they haven't been looking that good in other games either. Florida State doesn't play anybody until. Oh crap! Who do they play? I think we have a gimme this week and then Clemson. I think we play Wake Forest this week and then Clemson.
Oh.
Sorry, had to mute that. Okay, 55-16, and Oregon didn't score in the fourth quarter.
That's because
Wake plays NC State.
I'll tell you why they didn't
State
score
in
in
November.
the fourth quarter.
Because they had the defense when playing offense.
Well, all they did was run the ball. They had like the third string quarterback in there just handing the ball off to like our third or fourth string running back. They just killed time. That's all they did.
I asked the Florida State question because James Winston, I keep hearing, oh my God, next coming of Joe Montana, best quarterback of all time. And like he's got like more touchdowns than incompletions or something ridiculous right now. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I was wondering, has he actually faced anybody good?
The first week he was 25 of 27, and the 2 incompletions, one was a throwaway. It was just a straight, there was no target. He threw it to like third upper deck. And
that was a conference game against Pittsburgh where y'all came out a little bit slow.
I watched we always come out slow. And the other incompletion, actually, the receiver caught the ball, but they ruled him out of bounds. I don't know. I guess he was out of bounds. So, but he was.
Really? They ruled him out of bounds because he was out of bounds. Okay.
Yeah, he ruled him out of bounds because he was out of bounds. A diehard fan would argue that he was in bounds, but it was like the edge of his foot was on the line. Yeah, the guy was out of bounds, but that's not Winston's fault.
Right.
So we play Maryland, who has been looking.
Maryland's ranked now. They're
25. I mean, it doesn't get any lower, but yes, you're right. They're ranked. So that will be
25th best out of 125. You could argue if they're really the 25th best, but I mean they're looking pretty good. That's one of those trap games. You guys are more likely to lose to them than Clemson.
Yeah, and that's the problem is that Florida State never wins a game that Florida State plays down to their opponent. I'll put it like that.
I'm looking at Florida State's schedule right now. I see like 2 losses probably.
Clemson
honestly.
And Miami.
Clemson's a coin flip. Miami's a coin flip. I know Florida's not great, but it's always a rivalry game. It's always possible.
Well, that's the problem is it doesn't matter if either team are or are not ranked. It's a coin flip because of the rival, and that's one of the things I like about college football.
Maryland. Is that at home or away? It's at home. So I'll give you the Maryland game a little more confidently now since it's at Florida State, but that game will be within 2 touchdowns probably.
I will tell you, I'm worried about Oregon at Washington, which is week 7, and Oregon at Stanford, which I think is like early November. Those are the 2 games I'm worried about.
Schedule if I can find it.
I think we'll be able to take Washington, but they do look very good. That their quarterback Keith Price is looking very good.
How about UCLA?
Yeah, it'll be a challenge.
UCLA is a good team.
They are a good team, but I think we'll be able to beat them.
Nobody
I have
challenges
more
Oregon.
confidence in that game than the other 2 for sure.
Nobody challenges Oregon.
Stanford.
At Stanford.
Screw
At
Stanford.
Stanford's a good team. What are you talking about?
Oh God, no, they're not. The score is
Why?
The Stanford game. The score is 63-48.
Can you tell me, can you give me a good reason why you say they're not a good team other than you're a Southeast homer?
Because they're a Cardinal for one. What the heck is a Cardinal?
It's a tree/color.
There's only one.
It's a tree/color.
It's a tree. It's an inanimate object. It doesn't even have any life. If you set it on fire, it actually does something.
Well,
You're
that's
an-
like Alabama.
you're,
Roll
you're an
Tide.
You're an Indian tribe that's now irrelevant.
They don't play. Who does Stanford play? I have like no respect for any team west of the Rockies except Oregon. I
I'll
really
take it.
don't.
Okay, let's look at their 2012 schedule. This year they're 4-0, but they haven't played really anybody good. They did beat Arizona State, who was a ranked team when they beat them, and they played Washington this week, who's ranked number 15. Last season, they had 2 losses. One of them was at Notre Dame. That's a perfectly respectable loss. They beat USC. They beat Oregon. They beat Oregon State, who was in the top 15 at the time. They beat UCLA twice, who was ranked both times, and they beat Wisconsin, a Big Ten power, in a bowl game.
UCLA last year was overranked based on their high-powered offense.
Still ranked though. Still ranked opponent.
I understand.
Still a solid win.
Because you have to vote in a team on the west side of the country, or that half won't watch TV. Crooked
I
system.
think you're completely overplaying this West Coast bias, and you know it.
No respect for the West Coast.
Why?
You have to admit this, though. The Pac-12 is becoming one of the better football programs, or whatever you call it.
ACC is number 2 behind the SEC, then the Pac-12.
That's
Behind
fair.
who?
In my opinion.
I'll give you
The
that.
SEC has more teams that on any given day will beat another team.
And that's why we're listing them the number 1. I think the Pac-12, though, is a close... I mean, it is a second, if not a third, behind ACC. That's fine. I mean, I don't know ACC very well, but
The
ACC
SEC,
the Pac-12 has got a lot of great teams, and they
the SEC is
really turned
completely
things around.
overrated, though.
The
I agree with that
SEC,
statement.
the Southeastern Conference is overrated because where they get their hype is beating up on each other and looking
Right.
good for doing it. Like Tennessee this year is worse than dog dirt. I mean, they're terrible, and they have been since Peyton Manning left. Nearly. That's just a dig at Tennessee, but there are not that many great teams in the SEC. You've got LSU, Alabama, now Texas A&M is
A&M.
there.
That's Georgia. I'd throw Georgia up there.
Georgia. That's about it.
I think the SEC, the mid-level of the SEC gets overrated. Like, at the top, easily the strongest, I'd agree. Because you look
For
at
sure.
the top 4 in every conference, if you take Georgia, Alabama, LSU, Texas A&M, I mean, compared to the Pac-12, Stanford, Oregon, UCLA, and Washington.
Yeah.
You take the ACC, and
Florida
you've
State,
got
Miami,
Clemson, Florida State, Miami,
Maryland.
Maryland, or Virginia Tech, or I don't know who.
Well, see, the fourth one for us is always something like that. It's either Maryland or Virginia Tech or North Carolina.
Virginia Tech was really good for a really long time, and now they've kind of
Yeah.
fallen off the last 2 or 3
Tyrod
years.
Taylor, baby. Tyrod Taylor.
Mm.
What happened to him?
You take the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, Northwestern, and Wisconsin.
Wisconsin should be over Northwestern, but not this year.
You take Wisconsin's already got 2 losses this year. Wow. But anyways, you take the Big 12, Oklahoma, Texas Tech. The Big 12 sucks now. I don't even want to talk about the Big 12. But the point remains. But then you look at, like, Kentucky, awful. Mississippi State, not that good. Tennessee, not that good. Missouri, not that good. Auburn, not that good. Ole Miss.
Who?
How are Ole Miss ranked? How are Ole Miss ranked? Like, outside the top 4, the SEC's a little better than all the other conferences, but they're not way better. Like, the 6th best team in the SEC is still better than the 6th best team in every other conference, probably, but not by much. I would say. Not by as much as people act like. Like, the 6th best team in the SEC should be ranked in the top 10, as they were in the preseason.
The problem is there's only 4 good teams for each conference. And you've got to give out 25 placings, and it's the BCS system ruins so much of how you can tell which team's better.
Well, if you take the big conferences as ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and SEC, that's 5 conferences, 4 teams per conference, 4 good teams. You can throw in 5 more, whether you pull them from the mid-major, whatever conference, if you want, whatever you want to call them, or if you want to put them as like other teams in the big conferences. It doesn't really matter. Like Louisville, for example. Louisville's a good football team, and they're not in one of the big conferences anymore.
So who else has a good football team and basketball team?
Louisville.
Florida. Florida State. BYU, can you argue that?
They're not good enough at either one.
I wouldn't say that.
No?
No.
I mean, they did really
They're-
good. They had a...
They're solid in
Final
football,
Four?
and they're solid in basketball, but they're not. They were a Jimmer Fredette for one season, basically.
How is Oregon on the basketball front?
We were good last year, but I feel like it's kind of going up. So we'll see this year. I don't know though. I don't know the players. I don't follow college basketball very well.
Wake Forest most years is pretty good at basketball. Our current coach sucks because we fired our old coach after he let us do a #1 ranking the same season. Then we fired him because we lost in the first round of the
Let's put
tournament.
it this way. I know as much about college basketball, slightly a little more than I do about college baseball or softball.
Well then,
And I actually do watch both of those other ones.
Okay, so it's not like me. We're basically saying I know nothing.
I mean, I know a little bit, but
I don't like college baseball because one of the things about college sports to me is the transition to the pro level, and the fact that
weird.
any good college baseball player, you're not gonna when they graduate from college and go to the pros, they disappear for like 3 years
Mm-hmm.
before they actually show up in the pros, which just kind of takes. And like I still enjoy watching college sports without the pro factor, but like that's part of it for me is like the fluid, like for both sides, pro and college, like the fluidity following it.
Yeah, like following a specific player up.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
hard to do in baseball because
Oh yeah, I don't even understand it. I just watch like the Women's College World Series for softball and then the baseball. Just watch the World Series. Which that's a recent thing, but yeah.
All right, guys, so that was 3-Bar Exploits episode number 18, actually 18 this week, and I hope you enjoyed it. We're just over 2 hours in, so it's a really fun show to do. Hope you've enjoyed it. Tweet it out at all those big people. We may do the same thing as well. Leave your comments down below, and remember to tweet with the hashtag 3-Bar Exploits so that we do get those comments and can look over them. Maybe your idea will be here on the next week. Thanks. Have a great day.